obviously. I'll start out by asking for a little bit of patience, just to indulge me for a few minutes. I'm never going to get a chance to make an Oscar-winning speech. I'm unlikely to produce a best-selling autobiography, and I think my chances of winning the Masters are dwindling by the day. So this is my opportunity to hold court, thank a few people and tell a few stories. You never know, you might even enjoy it. I'm not always the most emotionally open book. I like to laugh and joke my way through life, have fun without taking life too seriously. So being serious doesn't always come massively naturally to me, so please bear with it. On that note, I'll try to not last too long, which incidentally I've heard is the ideal start to wedded life.
Same parent advice.
We're only sleeping in a tent tonight now.
No, I didn't talk. Right. In terms of what to expect from the next 45 minutes or so of your life, let's just say if you're playing wedding speech bingo, then you're all set for a full house. Get your elbows loose, knees warmed up, make sure your toast glasses are full. There's going to have more toast than a little chef Olympic breakfast. You'll be up and down like a yo-yo. However, if your knees aren't up to it, or you've had one too many already, don't worry, a raised arm will suffice. And we don't want any accidents. And if you're wondering, Alex, the nearest hospital is 9.36 miles away. I've had a chat with Grandad, he says you can get yourself there today. So, finally, I'd first like to welcome you all here today. And also, in doing that, take a moment just to recognise those who aren't here. Unfortunately, it's not possible to have everyone we love here today, but I know they're here with us in spirit, and they're not only in our thoughts but also in our hearts. So, first toast of the day, please. A raised glass for those who are no longer with us and those who can't be here. Cheers. So, now let me, on behalf of my wife and I, thank each and every one of you for coming here today and celebrating what is the happiest day of our lives. I know that a lot of you have been on long journeys to get here, and for making the effort we will be eternally grateful to you for sharing this wonderful day with us. And I hope you're all enjoying it as much as we are. We're genuinely touched by the effort you've all gone to in order to be with us today. And thank you all for the very kind wishes, cards, gifts. And incidentally, if anyone wants to come round for a dinner party, then we actually have all the gear but no idea now, so perfect. So it's now time to start thanking some people individually. And trust me, we could be here all day. I've got a very long list of people to thank for getting us into the position where I can stand here today. So let me first start with our parents, and first a story. I'm going to take you back. I'm going to take you back to Monday the 26th of November 2001.
Wow.
Who can tell me what they were doing that day?
Look at me.
Mum, can you remember what you were doing that day?
I got a feeling.
Leslie, have you got to remember what you were doing that day?
Tesco's.
Correct. They were both shopping in the same shop in Tesco's in Brigg. For context, this was one day after a 15-year-old Kaylee had agreed to be my girlfriend.
Aww.
So you could say it was early days. Whilst choosing their carrots and cucumbers, they discussed the embryonic romance and joked about buying a hat for the day. For the big day. We now know, 4,940 days later, I'm a quick mover, that it was clearly a joke because neither of them were wearing a hat. Possibly the longest punchline in the history of comedy. So, to Kaylee's parents, Colin, Leslie, thank you for raising the daughter who has become my wife. Thank you for raising an occasionally intelligent, sometimes funny, sometimes funny, sometimes we carry on, sometimes funny, most of the time stubborn,
Yeah.
and all of the time beautiful daughter. And of course, thank you most of all for letting me take her hand in marriage and taking on responsibility for looking after for the rest of our lives. Thank you. To my mum and pop, thank you for making me the man I am today. Kaylee and I would not be in the position we're in today without your endless love and support. I know life's not always easy, and we've had ups and downs, but that's only because we love each other. I live so much of my life to make you proud, to reward you for everything you've done for me and the opportunities you've given me in life. Throwing me to football training, tennis lessons, cricket matches, swimming, or any other sport, that was the flavour of the month. There were many. And give me the support both financially, personally, to go to university, to get a good degree, to move all the way around the country, and for looking after me when I most needed it. For that love and support, I'll be forever grateful, and will forever attempt to repay that. So thank you. And Dad, just a quick one, you warned, since Andy Murray got married, he hasn't lost a match yet. I know this is now factually incorrect because about an hour ago he lost, but it was funny. It was funny yesterday, yeah? He won 2 tournaments in a row and then got to a semi-final. So, if you fancy a game of absolutely anything tomorrow morning, of course I will thrash you, perhaps for the first time ever, but we'll see. He doesn't go easy on me. So if you wouldn't mind, please join me in raising a glass to those who quite literally we wouldn't be here without. And to our parents.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bang my head, didn't it? Now, to the rest of you. As always, ladies first. So a big thank you to our bridesmaids and beautiful flower girls. You ready for this, Karen?
Not really.
You wouldn't believe from looking at them that 75% of them are from Donny, would you?
Sorry, Karen.
Katie, think yourself lucky. That's as bad as it gets, honest. Seriously though, thank you for all for looking so nice today, and just not quite as nice as Kaylee. Given you the only adult I'm on this posse, Karen, then obviously you've been the most heavily involved. And from both Kaylee and me, thank you very much for organising hen parties, for looking after Kaylee last night, for getting her to the church almost on time this morning, and for everything else you have done. We're both very grateful. As for the kids, you've been brilliant. Presumably that's because you've got amazing role models as godparents. That's the only logical solution I can come to. So thank you for being beautifully well behaved, and I hope you've had fun, and I'm looking forward to having a bit of a dance later. So on that note, another toast to the bridesmaids and flower girls.
Bridesmaids and flower girls.
Right, it's quite nice, wasn't it?
I'm impressed, Karen.
Me and all. It's good job I'm sat down, isn't it?
Now to my boys. Some of you may be wondering why on earth I chose this rabble to be on a greenswim. And I have one answer for you on that note, and that is that they make me look better.
Careful, Sam.
Seriously though, I've known these three for a combined 72 years.
Wow.
Scott and Chip since play school in Broughton when mullets and shell suits were still cool. Dee since we went to big school in 1997. They are my best friends in the world, and though there are lots of miles between us, at the minute, we still see each other as much as we can. So to you three, thank you. Thanks for being my friend, and to pick up some highlights as individuals. Chip, thanks for not losing the rings. David, thanks for being more organised than me. And Scott, thanks for learning how to tie a tie. As the famous philosopher, Mr. B. Stinson said, whatever you do in life, it's not legendary unless your friends are there to see it. So please join me in making a toast to my groomsmen.
Groomsmen.
So, Next comes a quick fire round. So ready for a record number of thank yous in 1 minute. To our witnesses, Ben, Suki, thanks for witnessing real good. To my anyway, we're not doing it. To my granddad, thanks for reading like nobody's ever read before. To Auntie Nick and Uncle Steve, thanks for the storage facility. To Suki, thanks for doing Kaylee's makeup. Who's Kate? And Karen's makeup. Yeah. To everyone who's donated buttons in the last 18 months, thank you. You may see 1 or 2 or maybe 4 million around. There are quite a lot of buttons. To James, our wonderful caterer who's away in the tent, sure you'll agree we've had some top quality scran, as I would say, with lots more to follow tonight. And mostly to everyone who's put up with me moaning about weddings for the last 18 months, thank you. I promise I will try to become less boring after this. Thanks. So a quick raise of the glass for everyone who has helped us out in one way or another, to the helpers. Cheers. So, with all that said and done, that brings me to one final person I need to say thank you to. This person is the kindest, most beautiful, amazing, sincere, talented and modest person you could ever wish to meet.
Thanks, Sam.
So let me tell you all about Johnny Wilkinson. Of course I meant Kaylee. To put today into perspective for you, we haven't had a wedding organiser, we haven't had a wedding planner, we haven't bought a package off the shelf. Everything we've done today has been organised individually by Kaylee and I. However much I would like to take praise for that, however much I would like to take praise for that, the main brains behind this is of course Kaylee. From making 5 bouquets out of buttons to making seamlessly endless yards of bunting, Kaylee's been the heartbeat of this wedding from day one. And I'm so proud that today is just as perfect as we both imagined, and no one deserves this more than her. Most of you probably know the story of how me and Kaylee met, but I'm going to give you the highlights right now. We first met in 1997 on our first day at the Vale of Ancombe School in Brigg. Kaylee had come from a tiny little village school in Kirmington where there were more teachers than pupils, and I come from a slightly larger village, Broughton. To say our relationship was a slow burner was probably true, but we were 11 when we first met. It took until the 23rd of November 2001 for me to ask Kaylee to be my girlfriend. We were in our final year of school then, and I'd obviously got the impression that the girl from the funny little village next to the airport quite liked me. Not that you would know, as it took her 2 days to reply. Our relationship's not always been easy. Within 8 months I moved away to Rotherham, and for the next 2 years I spent every other weekend on the stagecoach bus from Meadowhall to Humberside Airport and back to catch Kaylee between her shifts at Barnaby Top Little Chef. But we made it work through not the easiest of times. After that, I decided Rotherham was just not far enough away. I moved even further away to Newcastle, where I went to university. I had my first year living in halls and decided I'd had enough, and Kaylee had to come up and live with me. So in October 2005, Kaylee moved to Newcastle, where we lived in our first place together. It was cold, it was damp, had a dubious landlord, and a very interesting family living above us. But most importantly, it was ours. We were happy and we loved it. We moved onwards and upwards after I graduated into some much nicer places and stayed in Newcastle for 7 years. My itchy feet then got the better of me. I got a job with Lloyd's, who after a gentle introduction of 6 months in Newcastle, moved me to Birmingham for 6 months and then to London, initially for 6 months as well. I told Kaylee that a boy from a small village in the north needs a companion to take on something like London. So she spoke to a few people, James actually, if you want to blame for this, and decided to move down to London with me to start a new adventure for 6 months. That was 4 years ago. We've lived in 2 different houses down there, had the opportunity to do some awesome things, and have had the time of our lives. One thing that did happen while we were in London, which was horrible at the time, but now was the best possible thing that could have happened, was that I wasn't very well with the kidney. This was the time that I decided enough was enough, and we'd grown up enough, and that I was ready for this silly little thing called marriage. It took a little longer to organise, but that same year, Kaylee made me the happiest man in the world by agreeing to marry me. This brings me to today. 4,943 days since I asked Kaylee to be my girlfriend, and 4,941 days since she said yes. So she could say that she started this whole keeping the other one waiting alive. I did once read a bit of advice on finding the one, and that was as follows. Be with someone who gives you the same feeling you get when you see your food coming out of your favourite restaurant. Now, I love my food, but only one feeling can match that. When I see my dinner being brought out of the restaurant, and that's every time I see Kaylee. That's a compliment. That's a compliment. Today and for the rest of my life, I'm so very pleased and proud to be able to call this girl my wife. I'm actually the luckiest man in the world to have found the diamond that is Kaylee. Everyone that meets her and knows her knows she's something special, and I get to have that someone very special next to me for the rest of my life, and I couldn't be happier about it. So please join me in raising a toast to my wife, Kaylee.
To Kaylee.
So, on that note, I think I've probably gone on for long enough now. So I'm going to take my seat. And I'm going to pass on the proverbial mic onto my best man. I've already thanked him, and now I'm going to get the first dig in. Second, correct. So you may know him as Tom. I first knew him as Billy. But to me, he was virtually always been, and will always be, Chip. He's been my friend since we went to play school together in Broughton, and grew up together throughout our entire school life, and most of the time after school, and at weekends as well. We're still the best of friends, and spent as long as living 216 miles away allows. Our friendship basically grew out of a friendly rivalry, and I even often let him win. Just so he wouldn't get too upset. In that regard, I believe I picked quite well, in that I now have a best man who is slightly less intelligent than me, slightly worse looking than me, slightly worse at sports than me, and slightly shorter than me. So all in all, I've got a person who always makes me look very good. What more could I want in a best man? So, a slightly less good version of myself, I'm going to give you a chip. And thank you very much.